Hi, today we are going to be talking about copyright law. Here are the standards and objectives that we will be going over. Under the Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills for Technology application, we are going to be looking at 5B through C, which state we are going to comply with acceptable digital safety rules, fair use guidelines, and copyright laws, as well as practice the responsible use of digital information regarding intellectual property, including software, text, image, audio, and video. By the end of the lesson, you, the learner, will be able to define copyright, define fair use, define a public domain, identify and demonstrate their knowledge of copyright rules. Given a video presentation software and Padlet resources, you, the learner, will create a video to evaluate whether it's copyrighted, fair use, or falls under public domain. Let's get started. So today's purpose for the lesson is for us to understand more about copyright. And so here's a little bit of background. We all are considered digital natives, meaning that we use the internet frequently to gain knowledge and do research. However, did you know that resources on the internet are protected by a thing called copyright rules? This means we cannot simply copy and paste words and images into our assignments because they are protected and we want to show respect to the owner. In this lesson, we will learn about copyright law to protect not only ourselves, but the creator, as well as give respect for the creation of the copyrighted material. What is copyright? Did you know that whenever you write a story, create artwork, poem, write a play, take a picture, it is considered an original piece of work, and you own the copyright. Copyright is a form of protection provided by United States law for original works in which permission can be granted to be used. What does that mean? As the owner of the original work, you can grant permission or give rights to let others do the following. They can make copies of your work. You can distribute or pass out copies of your work. They can publicly display it or publicly perform. It is also a way for the creator to get paid for their work. The copyright law, which is a law that provides exclusive rights or ownership for the reproduction, distribution, public performance, or public display. Its purpose is to also promote learning and distribute knowledge. How long does copyrights last? Copyright laws usually protect the owner of the copyright beyond their lifetime, such as until 50 years after that author or creator's death. In some countries, this period can be extended to 70 years. When the period of copyright protection has ended, the written documents, musical compositions, books, pictures, or other creative works in the public go into a public domain. This means that no one owns the copyright and everyone is free to copy, use, and change them without having to ask permission or pay the owner. When can I use works that are not mine? We are all users of copyrighted material. When we read books, watch movies, listen to music, or use video games or software, we are using copyrighted protected works. You can buy licenses which grant certain permissions for you to use. You can also use works that are located on the public domain. And what is the public domain? Public domain are works that are not protected by copyright. So, for example, sometimes there are facts and discoveries. Those do not fall under copyright, but instead they fall under public domain. Or there are also works which I stated earlier have limitations, and so those limitations or terms have ended and are, for example, if the owner had passed away or the owner did not fill out proper formalities, then it would be open for public domain. What is fair use? That's another important term we're learning today. Fair use means that exclusive rights of the copyright are not unlimited, meaning there has to be some way for you to use a portion of that resource. Although copyright law provides protection, there are some limitations. One of the most important limitations of the exclusive rights is the doctrine of fair use. The fair use doctrine allows limited copying of copyrighted works for educational and research purposes. So, we are in the education setting, and you would be able to copy a portion of a creation in order to show your knowledge. How do I know if a source is copyrighted? This image on the screen is recognized as the symbol and notice for copyright. It is a C within a circle and is normally followed by the publication date and the name. Its sole purpose is to give you notice and the public notice that this piece of work is copyrighted. Now, when doing research on digital platform, here are some questions you might ask yourself. Is your desired use of the protected work infringing or unauthorized? Is there a specific exception that allows me to use this material? If you can't do either of these, then you need to seek permission. What happens if I know I can't use the material and yet I do it anyway? If someone violates the law by making copies, editing work, performing it, or displaying protected copyrighted material without permission, the owner or the original creator may seek legal action. That is their right. In summary, we always want to be respectful to each other, and by doing this, we also must respect each other's creation. Copyright is a law that adds protection for original work. Fair use allows you to copy parts of a copyrighted work for educational or research purposes. Public domain are works whose terms or protection has ended because they expired. Your assignment today is to create a Flipgrid presentation using the provided Padlet resources. You will need to identify which of these resources are copyrighted, which resources are of the public domain, and which fall under fair use. Explain why each falls under the specific category. For example, the movie poster falls under copyrighted resources because it contains the symbol and the publication date. I hope that you enjoy this assignment, and I can't wait to see the knowledge that you have gained from this copyrighted lesson.